Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Secret Base figure preview video. Before we get started, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person to snap these gorgeous high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love in the comments below, because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. Now, if you're looking to pre-order either Artisan Moon Knight or Mr. Knight, I've popped links for both of them in the description below for Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection in the description for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new Marvel figure preview video goes live on the channel. Now, Mr. Knight, I wasn't expecting him, but I thought it may happen, given we've got so many third-party versions. Another Moon Knight, around a year after the first one released? If you'd have asked me prior to this announcement if I thought that was even possible, I would have said absolutely not. No way that's going to happen. They're not that crazy. Surely not. Another Chrome Mando situation, where we had the Beskar one, then the Chrome right after that release. But here we are. And here Moon Knight is, once again. They've made some changes. I wouldn't call them significant, but there's a head sculpt. And it's an artisan head sculpt at that, and that is significant. We'll discuss that a little bit later. We're going to talk about both Moon Knight and Mr. Knight in the same video. And we get the same hands as the first version of Moon Knight, but they're more weathered this time. In fact, the entire outfit is more weathered, but we'll get there. We get the crescent darts, small and big, and you can wedge them in between his splayed out fingers. For dynamic posing, it's a really sick display option. It's one that I've rocked from time to time on my Moon Knight, actually. Now, you're getting a little sneak preview of the weathering. You can see it on the hood and on the chin right there, that black speckling. They've put that black speckling everywhere, all over the entire outfit. And for those who didn't like the hood originally, they've once again gone with the sculpted plastic hood. I'm okay with that because it means it's going to follow the head sculpt when you turn it left and right, and it's always going to look perfect, because it's not going to cover the face. If this was a fabric hood as part of the outfit, and you turn the masked head inside of it, it would be stitched down to the outfit. His face would be completely covered. This is not the ideal solution for everyone, I get that, but I'm partial to the PVC hood actually. I was with the original, and I am with this one. He still has the LED light up function for his eyes, by the way. They've gone with a glossy, white, translucent-ish plastic for the eye lenses, but they didn't add any shading around them. If there was a really subtle blue shading effect around those eyes, they would look lit up even if the LEDs were turned off. But anyway, some people like the LEDs, I'll get off that one. The display base, they've shrunk it down. Now it's just a regular hexagonal style base. Gone is the diamond, and it couldn't have gone soon enough. That diamond base, you know I've got no love for it. It's too big, it's completely unnecessary, it's a massive space hog. Yes, they've also taken away the life-size crescent dart thing. It was made of clamshell plastic and foam. There was nothing special about it. It looked fine from a distance, but up close even you could tell that because it was vacuum-formed plastic, the detail was very soft on it. So as the diamond base was walking out the door, it grabbed the crescent dart and, yeah, good riddance to both of them. The boots, they're a lot more weathered this time. That was one of my complaints with the original Moon Knight. So they fixed the base, they've ditched the crescent dart, and they've weathered the boots plus the outfit. This is starting to make a lot more sense to me now. At first, I was thinking, maybe the original is still fine, I'll just stick with that one as my only Moon Knight. I like this weathering. It's not overdone, you know what I mean? In fact, I don't even want to call it weathering. It's not battle damage, it's just a light surface pass of dirt and grime to add some extra grit and texture onto the surface of the outfit. Prior to them doing this for this new version, Moon Knight was super clean. That could have been part of the appeal for some people, this really bright white figure that's going to stand out in the collection. This guy is also going to stand out. He's still very bright, but now there's just even more to look at on his outfit. For those of you hoping for more durable materials for the undersuit, instead of going with that rubbery, kind of sticky almost fabric that will stick to itself if his arms are left bent like that in a dynamic pose for a long period of time, you're shit out of luck. They didn't do that. They didn't change the material. It's literally the same exact figure, just slightly dirtier, with a new head sculpt, and a different display base, and without the crescent dart. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I want to make it very clear that you could potentially achieve this if you picked up the head sculpt parted out separately, got a custom base, and grabbed an airbrush, popped it on a low PSI, and spritzed some black paint, speckled it on the surface of your Moon Knight. Not something I'm interested in trying, but still, it's totally an option. The cape is all fabric, so that you can pose like crazy, which is what I've done with my copy of Moon Knight. He's standing there in a safe pose for the outfit. I have done some more dynamic stuff with him in the review, actually. I did that towards the end of it. But in the cabinet, he's standing there protecting the outfit, and the cape is doing all of the heavy lifting. It's looking dynamic so that Moon Knight isn't going to be destroyed being in a crazy pose. They've also added some speckling onto the cape. Just on the bottom, it looks like, and it's a lot lighter than the heavier speckling they've put on the outfit. But it's the little details that sometimes make the biggest impact, and for Moon Knight, that's totally the case. The bandage look, the very mummy-esque look he has about him, with the crescent dart up front and then the moon in the chest symbol, the little screen-printed hieroglyphs on his cape that you probably wouldn't even spot unless you were looking for them, the lines on the outside of the cape, and the little callbacks to the crescent darts dotted around the place everywhere else on the suit. Now this is the one real selling point for this new Moon Knight, the Artisan Oscar Isaac head sculpt. Now, Oscar is a Hot Toys collector, so I always wondered, why were they doing him dirty? Why were they not giving him a Poe Dameron figure, a Moon Knight figure with a head sculpt? They figured out that dude needs a figure of himself in the collection, seeing as he collects 1/6 scale figures. Now that they've done this, does that mean we'll eventually get a Poe Dameron using this sculpt? I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. We'll just have to wait and see. We got Finn, we got Rey, we got Han Solo, Chewbacca. Why not give us a Poe? Please, Hot Toys, just finish off that line by giving us a Poe Dameron. Enough about Poe, let's discuss this sculpt. Unfortunately, Hot Toys put this on the top shelf at Secret Base. The lighting was terrible, they used spotlights instead of LED strips, and Ryan had to hold the camera over his head to get these shots. That's why the images of Moon Knight or Stephen Grant or Mark Spector's head sculpt is from below like this. It's not an ideal angle, but we can still get a pretty good idea in terms of likeness, detail, and the hairstyle. All of that looks great. This screams Oscar Isaac to me. I can see the likeness from every angle, even from below, and I love the neck seal. It just cups the underside of his chin perfectly, and it allows him to have a skin tone neck. You might think that that's something they added for this version of Moon Knight, a change to the mold, or the patterns for the outfit. Actually, no. The original had this, the neck seal. It just sat under the chin for his masked sculpt, because I tried the So-So Toys Oscar Isaac head sculpt on the Moon Knight body. It fits, and the neck seal looked great there too, so once again, this sculpt, if you want to try and get it parted out separately, or if you want to grab Mr. Knight perhaps, it should be compatible with your 1.0 Moon Knight. Now, my plans for this new one, I'm going to have this one unmasked, and I'm going to use the original Moon Knight as my fully suited up masked Moon Knight figure. The hair on this, it looked better in the promo pics. It's going to require some styling. There's no two ways about it. If you are not a fan of styling 1/6 scale hair, let's be honest, who is? This may not be the one for you. If you're a set it and forget it type of collector, the sculpted hair with Mr. Knight potentially is the way to go. Then again, playing devil's advocate, if you put in just a little bit of work, getting the hair to look perfect, this sculpt is going to look way better than the sculpted hairhead sculpt, because you can't beat the realism of rooted hair at this scale. Oh, and both Oscar Isaac sculpts have moving eyes, so that's not something you need to worry about. Moving on to Mr. Knight. I really like the So-So Toys one. That guy's been standing front and center in my Moon Knight collection ever since I got him. The proportions, the tailoring, the fact that you can have the sleeves rolled up exposing the fully painted forearms, and he looks seamless with those rolled up sleeves on because they're just low enough to cover up the elbow joints. All of that is fantastic. But this, the one thing that gets me with the Hot Toys Mr. Knight over So-So, it's not the outfit, it looks comparable to me, but there's probably more wires in this, I would imagine. It's not the body, it's not the proportions. It's the head sculpt. 2 words. Moving eyes. They're a game changer, because now you can shift them off in different directions, and essentially, not only customize the sculpt so it's specific to your collection, no other collector is going to have it looking exactly the same as you, but you can modify the expression. With head tilt, with side eye, it's infinitely customizable. But, on the flip side, if you've got the So-So Toys one, the Hot Toys one doesn't include a rolled up sleeve shirt to have him in a pose where it looks like he's rolling his sleeves up. Nor does he really come with a hand for you to do that with. So what I'm trying to say with all of that is there's pros and cons to whichever version you decide to go with. The Hot Toys one, more wires in the outfit potentially, still unconfirmed, we'll have to wait and see when this releases. We get a split neck for the mask sculpt, and it's got more texture and detail on it. It looks more accurate to me. The scarab, which I believe was included with So-So as well, but you got the idol with the So-So one. This sculpt, the masked head looks way more proportionate to me. I never even considered displaying the So-So Toys figure with that masked head sculpt because there was always something a little not quite right about it. I said as much in the video and I stick by that. The stitch line down the front, impeccable, no complaints there. And it's even slightly darker compared to the rest of the mask. And that includes the moon up top, just so that jumps out at you when you're looking at this sculpt. It also has an LED light up function for the eyes. They're done in the same glossy white plastic as the Moon Knight figure. So with the LEDs turned off, it still looks really displayable. If only there was a touch of shading around the edges, like I said with Moon Knight. I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point. Would I ever display the Hot Toys one with the masked head sculpt? Yeah, potentially. Masked for the Hot Toys Mr. Knight, then grab the Oscar Isaac sculpt and pop that on my So-So Toys Mr. Knight. On his base is the hexagonal style base, exactly the same as the 2.0 version of Moon Knight. I have always said, and I stick by this, that Mr. Knight has the comfiest looking shoes in the MCU. This bandage wrap effect on top, then these chonky thick looking soles. I would love to stomp around in a pair of Mr. Knight shoes. Does he have socks on underneath the trousers? Surely. You can't not, right? Hot Toys have been giving us socks. Nowadays, it's an essential thing to have. But I've got a question. Are they using double ball pegs for the ankles? Or are they going with the more modern Hot Toys ankle joint, which is a hinge and swivel? I don't like the hinge and swivels. They limit range of motion, and they break. Like, how many of y'all, tell me in the comments, were really excited to get your Deadpool and Wolverine Deadpool? You opened him up, you tried to move the ankles, and the frickin' thing snapped on you. Hinge and swivels for ankles, terrible idea. Because what are they? They're massive wrist pegs, right? There's a reason why they give you spare wrist pegs in the box. Because they break. They're known to do that. But we don't get spare ankle connectors. If you are planning on sticking with the hinge and swivel ankles, please, for the love of figures, do not do it, Hot Toys. But if you do, just chuck a few spareys in there, because having to replace an entire figure because the frickin' ankle peg snapped, very frustrating. Now, I've completely glossed over the outfit, but it's well tailored. It hugs the body fine. The collar for the shirt looks a bit chonky, but they've got time to thin that out and maybe even wire it like Artisan Joker, which is something I want to see more of. Now, his forearms, for those wondering, do look fully detailed. I think I'm spying a vein right there, and a little bit of skin texture. But how far up the arm does that detail work go? And where's the cuff for the sleeve of the shirt underneath the jacket? And why am I seeing a wrist peg through the vent of that gloved hand? The gloves, they should sit over the top of the wrist pegs so you can't see them. But I can see that plain as day. Wasn't an issue with the So-So Toys one because the hands were soft sculpted PVC plastic, the same stuff Hot Toys uses, and they sat over the wrist pegs, completely hiding them, but still allowing great articulation. One other thing, while we're up close like this, I'm noticing a little bit of yellowing on this outfit. Nothing to be concerned about right now. This is a prototype after all. They still need to dial in what they're planning to use fabric and adhesive-wise on the outfit. But still, something to be aware of. White suits are notoriously hard to keep white. 1/6 scale companies have tried for years. In fact, Hot Toys shy away from making white business suits like this. We never got a Kingpin, for example. Will this yellow, as the adhesive they use to pin down the layers, dries out over time? I certainly hope not, but only time will tell. This head sculpt is the same underlying sculpt as the rooted hair one. Something about how high the collar is sitting and the sculpted hair makes it look slightly worse to me. It isn't. It's the exact same sculpt, like I said, same expression, moving eyes, similar-ish hairstyle depending on how you style the other one. But the hairline looks slightly chonkier, and the hair being fuller on the sides, maybe that's what's throwing it off for me. It's still an incredible sculpt though. If they hadn't have put up the Artisan Moon Knight at the same time as this, it would have been a 10 out of 10 sculpt. Nobody would have been complaining about this. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where Hot Toys put them up at the same exact time, so there are going to be comparisons. And if I had to pick between them, just based on the sculpts, I'm going with the Artisan one. The hair, when done right, is going to look incredible. I need to have that Artisan Moon Knight in the collection, and I'm not even a crazy Moon Knight fan. I like the show. I've never once in my life picked up a Moon Knight comic. But somehow, in 1/6 scale, the coolness of Moon Knight's outfit has taken over. They have won me over. I'm all in on both Mr. Knight and the Artisan version of Moon Knight. I have to have them. Oscar Isaac, you're a badass, and he deserves this. He's finally going to have his head sculpt in 1/6 scale. I'm so happy for him. So at the end of this, do I recommend them? Yeah, 100%. The first Moon Knight was one of the best figures they've released in years, and now they've gone ahead and upgraded it. And if you pick up Mr. Knight, while sticking with the 1.0, it's an upgrade set for that first release. You can use the head sculpt with your 1.0 Moon Knight. Now, if you're looking to pre-order them, I've popped some links to Pop Collectibles in the description below. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection in the description for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.